Historical Horrors and Homicides presents a book review on The Baby Farmers, a chilling tale of missing babies, shameful secrets and murder in 19th century Australia. The author, Annie Cousins. Just who were the Makins? John Sidney Makin, born 14th of February 1845, and Sarah Jane Makin, who was born the 20th of December 1845. Were Australian baby farmers who were convicted in New South Wales for the murder of infant Horace Murray. The couple answered a series of advertisements from unmarried mothers seeking the adoption of their babies, taking on the care of the infants on payment of a premium. The remains of 15 infants were found by police. John Sidney Makin buried in the yards of houses where the Makins had resided. The couple was tried and found guilty in March 1893, and both were sentenced to death, though Sarah Makin's sentence was commuted to life imprisonment. After an unsuccessful appeal, which was confirmed by the Privy Council in Britain, John Makin was hanged on the 15th of August 1893. Sarah Makin served her sentence at Bathurst and Sydney. After 18.5 years, she was released in April 1911 when her daughters petitioned for her early release. The Baby Farmers. Labelled A Chilling Tale of Missing Babies, Shameful Secrets and Murder in 19th Century Australia, the book was written by Annie Cousins and first published in 2013. This is a book review by History Horrors and Homicides. I initially picked this book up at a second-hand bookshop earlier this year and had no idea about who the story was about. I live in Australia, but had never heard of baby farmers. When I started to read, I was totally hooked on the first few pages. This was the true story of one of Australia's most evil women, Sarah Makin, born Sarah Jane Sutcliffe on the 20th of December 1845, and her husband, John Makin, born on the 14th of February 1845. It starts with the story of Sarah Makin's father, a convict named Emmanuel Sutcliffe, who was sentenced to 7 years for the transportation of stealing worsted stuff, a type of tweed material, in York at the age of 20. He was transported to Tasmania on the ship the Southworth, and her mother Ellen Murphy, who was born in Limerick, Ireland in 1816, migrated to London and then to Launceston on the Bracken Moor as a free settler on the 4th of April 1843. The story delves into the early days of free settlers and convicts as they re-established their lives in Australia. This well-written book gives a great insight into the horrors that single women, mothers and children experienced, the lack of rights women have and the unfortunate choices women had to make to keep their employment and lives intact. This is where the story takes a dark turn and delves into the evil that Sarah Makin and her husband inflicted on unsuspecting young women just trying to do the right thing for their babies. The unfortunate deaths and horrors that followed during the trials, the determined detectives' perseverance, paying off even if the law of the 1800s was not up to the scrutiny of today's courts. While they were convicted of at least one of the crimes, without proper evidence, they could not prove the other babies' deaths. The couple did receive punishment. Some may agree with the outcome and some may not, but that is up to the reader to decide. The author, Annie Cousins, did a lot of research and her writing shows she had a great understanding of the period, the pain and the horror inflicted on the people involved. A great read for true crime and history buffs. I have not read a better book on the subject of the Makins. I totally recommend this book.